And we're live. Hey, it's Lights Camera Jackson, and welcome to today's new episode of LCJ Live. We're going to talk about Joker, Folie à Deux. Wow, what happened? It's one of the biggest flops of the year. We had Mega Flopolis last week. Could we have now Joker Floppy a Doo Doo? I mean, that is the box office with just $40 million. Some might be saying, wait, was 40 million the combined for Thursday, Friday? No, 40 million is the entire weekend of Joker Folie à Deux. That's crazy. That is significantly less than the 96.2 million for the first Joker back in 2019. This exact weekend 5 years ago. Warner Brothers was in a much happier place. They put on a happy face, all of that. Much better place with Joker and Joaquin Phoenix's performance and the buzz and the momentum, and Todd Phillips with a career game-changing movie. He shifted away from the goofy comedies into this heavy action drama, superhero movie drama in Joker. And the buzz and the momentum, and Joaquin Phoenix won the Best Actor Oscar, and Todd Phillips was up for director, and now here we are 5 years later. We're in mourning. That's why I'm in black. We're in mourning for the Joker franchise, for DC again. Todd Phillips, it's going to take a while for him to recover from this. Lady Gaga may not want to put herself in a position like this again, as far as she wants to make sure that she's in movies that make money and have a positive impact. And Joaquin Phoenix, I don't know. I mean, he's got a Best Actor Oscar. Lady Gaga has an Oscar as well. But boy, this is just a tough situation, a tough day for Warner Brothers, who's had an up and down year. You know, started so high with Dune Part 2, coming off of Wonka and the holidays, and Godzilla X Kong the New Empire, and then Furiosa bombed, and then The Watchers didn't do well, and Trapped didn't do great, and Horizon bombed, and now who knows what's happening with Horizon 2. And then Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice did great. Beetlejuice has made $265 million domestically. It could actually make a run at close to 300 by the time we get to Halloween, which is incredible. But now here we are with Warner Brothers again in just a really rough weekend. You look at these numbers, 7 million for the Thursday previews combined with the Monday previews. That's where I saw it in IMAX. 13 million Friday, 11.4 million yesterday, and an estimate for today of just $8 million. The money kept going down. The estimates kept going down over these last few days. I still thought it could do 60, 65 even after seeing the movie on Monday. And then the money was going down to like 55, then 50. We were looking at 46, 47. And with this today at 40, it could even be under 40 when all is said and done. Now, 39 million is the open that Wonka had for Warner Brothers back in December, but Wonka went on to do 220 million total. This is not going to do that. This may even not break $100 million. And yet the first Joker did 335 and $1 billion worldwide. Wow. I saw the movie Monday. It's not a good film. It's not the worst movie ever made, but it's very unsuccessful in nearly every regard. The cartoon I enjoyed at the beginning. But the musical numbers, there's too many. Yes, they look nice. Yes, they sound nice. I saw it in IMAX. The sound, it's like you're at a Lady Gaga concert, at a Joaquin Phoenix concert. But they were really unnecessary to the overall point of the story, and the third act is messy. A lot of it drags on way too long. The courtroom, that's what I feared. In looking at the early trailers for Joker, I went, this is what I posted online. I went, this looks like everything I would expect from a Joker movie, especially you casting Lady Gaga and Harley Quinn. Of course, it's going to have a music component and these fantastical elements and the drama of it and the psychological intensity nature of it. This is what's to be expected. There's nothing surprising. And B, that it looked like it would just be another long courtroom drama, and it is. And that's not what audiences want, and where we go with the character is not, as it turned out, what audiences want and what I wanted out of a Joker follow-up. It is one of the most unnecessary follow-ups I've seen in the last 15 years, without question. Definitely top 5 in that category, or really bottom 5 if you want to look at it that way. Joker Folie à Deux, $40 million. It may not be number 1 next weekend. If Saturday night has some momentum behind it, and can do $15 million, I could see Joker dropping down to about 12, maybe even 10 million next weekend. Saturday night could be the number 1 movie next weekend, or maybe even The Wild Robot Wild Robot could be back at number one if it has a small drop of maybe down to 14 million, something like that. That could be really interesting. I think Universal and DreamWorks are now going, hey, maybe we have a shot at number one next weekend. And then the following weekend, Smile 2, absolutely number one for Paramount. And then Venom, The Last Dance for Sony, will definitely be number one weekend of October 25. Wild Robot, though, it's interesting. It dropped almost 50%, down to 18.7. It's at 64. I think it will get to 100 million because families will still need films to see over these next several weeks into November. And so the Wild Robot will get to 100 million for DreamWorks Universal. But it dropped a little bigger than I thought it would. Transformers actually had a smaller drop this weekend, only 42% of a drop, down to 5.4. It's only made 47.2. Yes, it's going to pass 50 million, but I'm not sure about 60 million for Paramount. Definitely one of the most disappointing films in terms of box office, animation-wise and family film-wise of 2024. But when you've got a $200 million budget in Joker Folie à Deux, that makes it an even bigger flop, along with the huge money behind Megalopolis from Francis Ford Coppola. Megalopolis only added 1.1 million this weekend. It's at 6.5. Oh my gosh, that's terrible. It's just terrible. Like I said, Beetlejuice still making money. It made another 10.3 this weekend. It's at 265.5. Speak No Evil added 2.8 million. It's at 32.6. Some other box office results. My Old Ass did 908,000. It's at 4.5. The Substance had a very small drop this weekend. It will get to 10 million now, which I'm glad. It added 1.4. It's at 9.7. Let's see if this thing could get to 12 million, maybe 13, if it has some more momentum as we get closer to Halloween. People looking for horror, crazy movies like this. You could see The Substance continue to have small holds. Could do another million next weekend. Saturday Night, in its limited expansion, added 280,000. It's at 638. Film called Sam and Colby: The Legends of Paranormal, a little over $1 million this weekend. Deadpool and Wolverine, probably close to $1.5 million. It's at almost 640 million domestically. We don't have the money on some films like Monster Summer. A film I saw called A Different Man, I saw it the other day, added 186,000. It's at 373. It's not in a lot of theaters. I like A Different Man. Sebastian Stan, Adam Pearson, terrific performances. It's got a great third act cameo. It's got a unique story to it. It's very thorough, which I appreciate. I don't think every step of the way works, every element of the story works, but I was with it enough. I don't think it's fantastic, but I enjoyed it. I certainly enjoyed it a lot more than a movie we also don't have the money for yet, The Outrun. Saoirse Ronan, Sony Classics put this out. It's a terrible film. It is so boring. It is so dull. It is so cyclical, repetitive. Saoirse Ronan's in nearly every scene. It's her most forgettable character, her least interesting character. And the most manipulative movie I think I've seen this year is The Outrun. I do not recommend you see that. We don't have the money for that. But I will talk about White Bird. Wow. Only $1.5 million for a film that Lionsgate has moved around the calendar so many times. It was originally going to come out in fall of 2022. The spinoff to Wonder. It is a prequel. It is a sequel. It's a spinoff. But it doesn't work. The movie's not awful, but even with solid performances and even with an intimate feel from director Mark Forster, it's tough subject matter. Tough subject matter to market. I can understand why Lionsgate struggled to try to market this because it's a violent PG-13. And Wonder brought in so many families and made $133 million. Wow, that was 2017. I remember walking into the Friday night showing of Wonder, and the theater was packed. I had to find a seat. It took a while. And I knew then, okay, increased its box office by at least 10 or 12 million dollars. And it opened to 27, and like I said, did 133. Because it was an excellent movie. It was the second best movie of 2017, only behind The Post, nominated for makeup and hairstyling at the Oscars. And this movie, White Bird, which is well-intentioned, but the themes are so obvious, it is too long, it is too dry, and it doesn't completely work. There are elements in the third act that you go, wait, what? We're doing that? That's how we reached this solution? Ooh, yeah, it was tough. I could tell that for Mark Forster, and I love many of his films. He had a tough time knowing what to do with this. Only $1.5 million for White Bird. Wow. I have Emmett here from the Lego Movie because this week in theaters is Piece by Piece, which is Pharrell Williams' Lego animated documentary, which is PG. It's going to attract family audiences. The question is, how many of them will go see this? Do they know exactly what they're getting into? It's a very unique concept. I'm looking forward to seeing it. It's directed by Morgan Neville, who did Won't You Be My Neighbor and some other documentaries, Anthony Bourdain, other films, 20 Feet from Stardom, I believe, as well, and won the Oscar for that. And so here's Morgan Neville's latest, which I think is hopefully going to be good, and it will just be interesting to see what the box office is. Is it only going to make a couple $1,000,000, or is it going to make more than that? I don't think it's going to do the 20, $30 million type opens that we just saw in Transformers 1 and the Wild Robot, but maybe it does 5, 6, 7 million. A lot of kids are off of school this coming Monday for Columbus Day, Indigenous Peoples Day. So maybe it does pretty well on Monday, along with The Wild Robot and Transformers 1. That's going to be very interesting. I don't think it'll be number one, and I don't think it'll make more than 5 million, but maybe it will. We might be surprised. We will see. Saturday night is going nationwide. Also, The Apprentice opens this weekend, and Terrifier 3. So that'll bring in the horror audiences. A film called Average Joe as well. My Hero Academia has a new movie, You're Next. And The Nightmare Before Christmas is getting re-released. And We Live in Time. Florence Pugh, Andrew Garfield from the director of Brooklyn, which I still think has Saoirse Ronan's best performance in it. We Live in Time opens in select theaters on Friday, so that should have a high per-screen average for A24. In television this week on Thursday is the premiere of Tomb Raider: The Legend of Lara Croft, and I talked with Tasha Hugh, the showrunner. That LCJ Q&A podcast episode and Animation Scoop Q&A at animationscoop.com will be available tomorrow. Coming soon to TooFastTwoFilms.com, a new episode of the podcast where Mike Sargent and I review Lee starring Kate Winslet, and we go in depth on Joker, Folie à Deux. I saw Sebastian Maniscalco the other night. I had not seen him do stand-up before. I enjoyed it. I had met Sebastian 5 years ago, almost exactly 5 years, at the Critics' Choice Awards. He won Best Ensemble as part of the cast of The Irishman, and he had also been in Green Book the year before. He's been in the Super Mario Brothers movie since, of course, About My Father, the film he did with Robert De Niro, and so enjoyed seeing him do his stand-up thing the other night. Yeah, we'll see how many more movies. We'll see if he's in the Mario sequel. We'll see how many more movies he wants to do. Of course, he's got that Max series, Bookie, which is coming back pretty soon. They were doing advertisements for it before the show began the other night. He's on tour now and just extended his tour well into the first half of 2025. Thanks for being here today on LCJ Live. If you got any questions or comments, send them in. Did you see Joker, Folie à Deux? I saw it Monday night, and wow, you could tell the audience reaction was not positive. You could just tell as people were watching it. I know a couple people got up and left about the third song in, and you could tell the reaction was not positive. Afterwards, people kind of walking out just kind of shook, just kind of stunned, going, wow, what was that? What did I just pay $24 and spend 2.5 hours of my life for? And by the way, Warner Brothers was so confident still that they thought this was going to make money. Here's what they did at the IMAX screening Monday. They showed 5 trailers. The only 5 trailers were all Warner Brothers upcoming releases. Let me see if I can remember them all. A Minecraft movie was one of them. Sinners was one of them. That is the Michael B. Jordan, Ryan Coogler film. The Lord of the Rings animated film for December, The War of the Rohirrim. What were the others? F1, which is coming out at the end of next June. That's the Warner Brothers combo with Apple. And I knew I was going to forget one. Hang on. It was amazing, though. It was not Horizon Chapter 2, I will tell you that. And it was not a teaser for Superman. Oh, Mickey 17, yes. The Bong Joon-ho interesting looking sci-fi comedy starring Robert Pattinson that's coming out at the end of January. His follow-up, Bong Joon-ho, to Parasite. That's going to be an interesting experience as well. So they showed 5 trailers. I actually remember, I think it was Dr. Sleep from Warner Brothers. that they showed 4 trailers of their upcoming movies before that screening. Dr. Sleep, talk about a flop. That made 14 million open, 31 total. That was a real box office bomb, though I love the movie. But I remember they showed 4 trailers, and I was surprised that they showed 4. Usually it's 2, sometimes maybe 3. And now the other night it was 5 Warner Brothers trailers. So maybe they'll have a better 2025 than much of 2024. A few hits. This Lord of the Rings will be a wild card. It could have the impact of Spider-Verse, but it may not. We just saw that in Transformers not play out very well. So that's, I think, their next movie. Although they do have the Clint Eastwood film, which they just released a trailer for, just sneaking into November, Juror Number 2. That could get some award season consideration. So Warner Brothers does have that for the rest of the year as a wild card the rest of the way, along with the Lord of the Rings animated film, and then those several 2025 releases. I hope F1 is good. That looked really good and sounded really good in IMAX. When we're back here next time for LCJ Live, I don't think it's going to be next Sunday at noon Eastern, but I'll let you know. I'll keep you posted. But next time, if we're back here next weekend for LCJ Live, we'll talk about Saturday Night. We'll see how it does in its wide release expansion, Jason Reitman's SNL film that I'm looking forward to. I'm looking forward to Piece by Piece as well. We'll talk about the box office for that. The Apprentice, Terrifier 3, Average Joe, We Live in Time, My Hero Academia, and the re-release of The Nightmare Before Christmas. And we'll preview the movies coming out for the 18th, which include Smile 2 and Goodrich. And I have seen Woman of the Hour, which debuts on the 18th on Netflix, starring Anna Kendrick, directed by her as well. It's the dating game film. And I'll be able to tell you a little more about that next weekend, though my embargo for full review and really real comments on it will be Monday the 14th. But that comes out the 18th, and more at the end of October. We're getting into award season. The big movies like Conclave, the end of October. And then you've also got Venom. Will it do better than the 90 million open of the last one? We know that this is the last Venom film, at least with Tom Hardy involved, so we will preview that and see how it does. For more, go to lights-camera-jackson.com, subscribe to this YouTube channel, Twitter X at LCJ Reviews, Instagram at LightsCamJackson, lcj.podbean.com, toofast2films.com, animationscoop.com. Thanks so much for watching today's episode of LCJ Live. As we say, wow, to Joker Folie à Deux, I will not be surprised if it's not #1 next weekend. We'll see what happens. Take care. Have a good week. Enjoy yourselves. Take care. Bye-bye.